here are the most pointless upgrades in Clash of Clans. I can't tell you what that means, whether it's pointless or the worst because it's useless, boring, or doesn't add any value. Today we're taking a look at those upgrades that are the least exciting. You know, those upgrades that you don't want to do, but you'll probably eventually do anyway. And hey, you probably should. This isn't a list of upgrades you shouldn't do, just what I consider the least bang for your elixir. I don't know. You get the point.
Let's do this.
Let's start with the builder-based spring traps. You know, at one point in time, these were actually pretty useful, and I feel I need to explain it a little before I insult it. A lot of troops in the builder base used to have similar spring weights as their home village equivalents, so these spring traps would work on barbarians, archers, bombers, boxers, hogs, and even cannon carts. So during a typical match, it wouldn't be out of the ordinary to see several troops flying up into the air, and to say they were useful is probably an understatement, because they could easily ruin a match. I mean, there's not many troops you can deploy in the builder base to begin with, so seeing a couple of your cannon carts fly off into the distance was a real pain in the butt. However, during the builder base 2.0 rework, the spring weight of every troop was doubled, and in some cases, more than doubled. And at the same time, the spring trap's capacity was reduced by over half. This essentially rendered the spring traps useless because now they can only spring up just one archer or one barbarian or a few skeletons. Very useful. With the exception of the max level spring trap that can fling up an impressive 2 barbarians or 2 archers. But by the time you max that spring trap, no one is spamming barbarians and archers anymore. At most, they bring them to check for traps, which you only need one of to activate. Or sometimes they're carried as a support troop, but rarely are 2 of them ever stepping on a trap. In practice, it isn't that common to see the spring trap make use of those extra levels. So theoretically, a level 1 spring trap may just be as useful as a max level most of the time. But hey, at least they look cool, right? This next one I consider one of the worst because it doesn't exactly add anything, at least anything significant. The level 12 clan castle. You know, every time I've upgraded my clan castle over the past 11 years, I would always get excited because I knew I was going to be able to hold more troops and increase my war storage. RIP. And over time, it increased the spell storage and allowed us to hold a siege machine. What I'm trying to get at here is that clan castle upgrades have always been exciting, and it's like the first thing I do. So, what does a level 12 clan castle give you? An extra siege machine slot. Oh, and can't forget about the additional 200 HP. Getting to Town Hall 16 and finding out this was the next clan castle upgrade was one of the lamest things ever about Town Hall 16. Now, I know that this is just an opinion. Some players may actually find this very useful, but for me, I feel like the amount we can already carry into a battle is more than enough. I mean, look at this. I can almost carry every single siege machine that exists. And to be honest, 90% of the time I'm using the exact same one, but it isn't totally useless. Having the option is nice, and it matches the Town Hall 16 theme, so let's be real, all of us are gonna upgrade it eventually, especially if you're a completionist. But still, you can't look me in the face and tell me this doesn't feel like they added a new level because every Town Hall gets a new level. It's certainly not the most useless upgrade in the game, but to many of us, it won't make a difference. It's kind of just like upgrading the skin of it to match the Town Hall theme. Before moving on though, this video is kindly sponsored by Final War Frozen Defense, an RTS tower defense game that may look same old at first, but it's actually very unique in its own way. Basically, you have to defend your throne from enemies, and you do so by bringing a deck of cards that includes building, skills, and a hero, and dropping them down in the map anytime you have enough gems to do so, and you do that by taking enemies out through several waves. It's really fun, and upgrading your defenses through the waves and seeing them get beefy is pretty satisfying. But there's a twist. You can control the terrain, like expand the territory and place paths where the enemies will be walking through, essentially creating your own route. But the best part is that strategy and planning is incredibly rewarding in this game. It will not hold your hand through it, and I love it. I can't tell you how many times I got stuck on a certain level, and to be honest, most of it was a skill issue, yeah. But instead of taking the L, that made me want to do it over and over again until I had the perfect strategy worked out. And that feeling is what I call fun. Other than battles though, you can obviously upgrade your cards and even your throne as a whole, and there's just a lot to do here that I wish other games had. But hey, don't just take my word for it. I'll be leaving the links down below so you can check the game out yourself. I've been having a blast, and I think you guys will too, so check it out. Anyways, back to the topic. I believe this next one deserves a spot on this list, not because it's pointless or anything like that, but instead because of their value. Max level storages. Remember when you had to upgrade your storage to the next level to afford the most expensive upgrade at your current town hall? This made them so much more important in that upgrading your storage equaled having a stronger base. But over the years, with cost reductions and economy changes, it's become increasingly apparent that that isn't the case anymore, especially at higher town hall levels nowadays. Did you know that a Town Hall 15 already has enough storage capacity to upgrade the most expensive building at Town Hall 17? It's impressive, but it makes you rethink the value of these upgrades. I'm not saying upgrading storages is pointless, you gotta do it anyway. And after all, it increases their HP and it makes runes more valuable because you can hold more loot. But in terms of bang for your elixir, it just feels the cost and time it takes for these upgrades is absolutely insane. But like everything else in this video, I still upgraded them because they look cool. Here's another upgrade that's completely useless and may just be the only one in the game that adds absolutely nothing, like for real. Levels 9 and 10 for the boulder base push trap. Now, as mentioned earlier, the spring traps became useless because the spring weight of a lot of troops was doubled during the 2.0 rework, whilst the trap itself was nerfed into oblivion. That's not exactly what happened to the push trap. It was buffed, and it even got a new level. With that said, it's generally accepted that you only need to upgrade it to level 8 because that's when it can push the heaviest troop in the builder base with a spring weight of 22, the Power P.E.K.K.A. Now, this is where the upgrades get pointless and confusing, because even though level 8 will push the heaviest troop it can, the push trap still goes up to level 10. But why ever go that high? Well, some argue that it's still beneficial because it can spring up more than a P.E.K.K.A. at higher levels. For example, if a barbarian were to step on it with a P.E.K.K.A., something it can't do at level 8. But the problem with that is that it actually can. The spring trap capacity on the push trap is more of a guideline of what troops it can push, not how many. Even though a P.E.K.K.A. and a barbarian have a combined weight of 26, the level 8 push trap will still push it. How about 6 P.E.K.K.A.s with a combined capacity of 122? Well, the level 8 push trap thinks it's easy peasy. So yeah, that begs the question, why upgrade it? And most importantly, why did they add a new level? I mean, like many things in this game, at least it looks cool, right? But yeah, I think this belongs on this list. The next upgrade, or upgrades that I consider some of the worst, are that of the Hero Hall. Once upon a time, you could unlock and upgrade heroes instantly, and there was no wait for it. As soon as the timer finished on your Town Hall upgrade, you would dump loads of Dark Elixir on heroes or buy the new hero you've been saving up for. It was the strongest dopamine rush ever. And then the Hero Hall came, ruining all of that. Now, every time you get to a new Town Hall, anything hero related revolves around waiting for the Hero Hall to upgrade. And this could take weeks. But wait a second, why all the hate? Hasn't the laboratory worked the exact same way since the game's inception? Everyone is just having a hard time accepting change. Well, I think that's most of the reason it ended up on this video. Nobody likes to upgrade the Hero Hall and wait so long knowing how good we had it before. I think what they should have done is made the Hero Hall a building you don't need to upgrade and it just levels up at every Town Hall level. I don't know. Hey, I don't think it's that bad, but it's certainly not winning any awards. Alright, this next one is not useless or the worst by any means, but it certainly makes you question the value of the upgrade. The level 6 and 7 bat spell. Now, if you've been playing Clash of Clans for a while, it's pretty common knowledge that not every upgrade will increase the stats of something a big amount. This helps things stay balanced. If something doesn't need a huge buff, then it won't get it. This is the case with the bat spell. The developers have to ensure that they don't make it too OP by adding too many bats to it. So with that said, it still feels so lame, knowing that you'll be dumping a lot of Dark Elixir and waiting a long time for one more bat. It's really hard to press that upgrade button for an additional bat. Like, I don't care what anyone says, I just feel like I'm getting ripped off here. And look, I used to use Ice Spell Bat all the time, and I know you don't just bring one bat spell, you bring like 10 of them. So it's not one extra bat, it's 10 extra bats, depending on how you're using it. So it can make a difference, but that doesn't change the fact that the cost and time just feels insane for these upgrades. And last but not least, I think everyone saw this one coming, but walls. Let me get something out of the way first. Walls are not useless. If you've ever time failed an attack because your troops were stuck on a high level wall, I'm sure that was enough proof that walls can make a difference. And this applies to the builder base and clan capital. We often tend to over exaggerate how useless walls are, myself included. With that said, I still think they're pointless, something you dump loot into primarily for cosmetic reasons. In fact, this is such a widely agreed upon thing that even the Clash of Clans team themselves joke about it. And it hasn't always been like this. Once upon a time, walls did keep your village safe, and the only thing you had to circumvent this was wall breakers and jump spells. But over the past few years, we've seen a massive increase in troops, spells, and equipment that make walls way less of a problem. But hey, walls is something we'll probably do anyway because it's just part of Clash of Clans. That wall grind, even if it feels pointless while we're doing it, is rewarding in the end. It just looks sweet, man. Except the level 6 and 7 walls in the builder base. Those are basically just an HP increase. So yeah, that is my opinion of the worst upgrades in Clash of Clans. Man, did I have a hard time thinking of a title for this video. I have useless upgrades, pointless, boring, worst, the least valuable. I had to pick one, and worst or pointless made the most sense. With that said, let me know what you guys think. This video is heavily opinionated, so I'm sure you guys got some different takes. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed, but hey, YouTube thinks you'll like this next video, so check it out. As always, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace!